So an egg timer or a kitchen timer can be a very useful tool for practice. And I am a big proponent of egg timer everything. I use an egg timer for all my creative work when I'm writing songs and music, but I also like using a timer in practice. And so I'm going to give you a few ways that maybe the timer could be helpful to you. So the first one is on those days where you really just don't feel like practicing, you feel like you don't have enough time, is you set a timer for 10 minutes. And at the end of the 10 minutes, you've done probably enough to warm up, and you've probably done enough to maintain your dexterity for the day in that 10 minutes. And then you can decide whether you want to continue. You may find that while you thought you only had 10 minutes, whatever it was you thought you had to do next can be put aside. It can be maybe even crossed off your to-do list altogether. You didn't actually need to fold all that washing. It's happy to just sit there in the basket for another day. So this is the first way that an egg timer can be very helpful on days where you don't feel like practicing, is just set it for 10 minutes. Tell yourself you only have to practice for 10 minutes. And then if you want to keep going, you can. If you don't, you've done your practice, you've fulfilled the goal you set for yourself, and you can put your instrument away for the day. And so the second way a timer can be useful is to stop you from overplaying frustrating parts of the music. This is something that I'm very guilty of, and I can kind of get stuck in a bit of a loop, and it feels like if you play the piece enough, it's going to get better. You just have to keep playing it more, and you often you give yourself and you prompt at the beginning, you say, okay, I'm going to try it like this, I'm going to try it like that, and you keep playing it, and then there may come a point where it does improve a little bit, but then usually there comes a point where it just gets worse and worse and worse, and you keep playing it, you just keep hoping. It's that thing, like the definition of an insanity is doing something the same way and expecting different results. So the way a timer can be useful is to set yourself increments in your practice. If you know that you are prone to really overplaying things to the point where it becomes frustrating and it's no longer useful practice, then set yourself timers and give yourself the 10-minute or 20-minute blocks, or if you need even just really short 3-minute, 1-minute blocks to work on these, to work on a task. And then when the timer goes off, you stand back and you assess and you say, okay, is it worth playing it again? Or maybe instead of just running that piece over and over again and hoping that it's going to get better, I step back and say, there's that really difficult section in the middle. I'm just going to practice that bit for the next 3 minutes of my timer. And sometimes we keep running the piece over, hoping for it to get better, because we don't want to face the fact that there's something in there that we can't play, that we need to work on, and we want to avoid it for just a little bit longer. And by using the egg timer and saying, okay, I'm going to focus on that difficult section for 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes out of your practice session, and you don't have to feel so scared. You can say, if in 3 minutes I only have to work on it for 3 minutes. I only have to be in that space of discomfort, knowing that there's something that I can't play well for 3 minutes. And then the timer's gone. Okay, that section, I can leave it, and then I can come back to it for another 3 minutes tomorrow. And so the other way that you can use an egg timer is you can employ something called the Pomodoro Technique, which is where you set your egg timer in blocks of 20 minutes with a 5-minute break in between, and every 4 blocks you take a longer break. So we have 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 4 times, and then you can take a longer break, for example, morning tea, lunch, dinner, wherever you are in your day. So this can be also helpful as a way of giving yourself that breathing space you need between difficult parts of the practice. So we really get caught up in practice, and sometimes not in a good way, like me, just playing the same piece over and over again, hoping that this time it's going to sound the way I want it to sound. So by giving yourself that signal, it's time to take a break, you get to stretch, you get to release any tension that's been built up. Maybe if there's a lot of frustration, this is the signal that you move on to another piece, because you can only work through the frustration for so long before it gets the better of you. And so each of these 5-minute breaks is an opportunity to relax, stretch, and reassess what you want the next 20 minutes of practice to be. And it also makes the practice go quite fast, because 20 minutes is a very manageable chunk of time. And before you know it, you've done these for 20-minute blocks of practice, and that's more than an hour of practice. So you've probably done your day's goal of practice and you didn't even realize it. So if you don't have a physical egg timer, you can use your phone, although I personally like using a physical egg timer because then I don't get distracted by notifications on my phone when I go to set the timer. So this is my tip for you today. Find a way of using the egg timer or a kitchen timer to your advantage in your practice. Hi, I'm Erica. I am a musician and music teacher, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more practice tips, motivation and inspiration. And also share this video with any friends who are also practicing music. And finally, if you like, you can stick around for a short meditation at the end of this video to prepare you for a great day's practice. So happy practicing, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So we're going to take a few minutes to prepare for practice, to relax the body and the mind. You can take out your instrument, have any music, books, pencils ready. Then you can sit or stand with your instrument or without. And we're going to start with a soft focus in the eyes. Bring your awareness to the space you're in. Notice any sounds in the room, any smells. And then with the next exhale, closing the eyes. And we bring our awareness in to our bodies, feeling the weight of the body on the chair, or feeling the feet connected with the floor. Maybe feeling the instrument in your hands, its texture under your fingers. And then bringing the awareness further in still to the breath and to the place where you feel it. Maybe the nose, the throat, the chest, the diaphragm, feeling the rise of each inhale and the release of each exhale. And as you notice the breath, on each exhale, letting every muscle in your body release just a little bit more. Each exhale brings more relaxation to the body and more stillness to the mind. And if thoughts arise, just let them do what it is they want to do. Maybe they float by, maybe they stay. Just bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to each inhale and to the release of the exhale. Every breath, relaxing the muscles in the body just a tiny bit more. And then bringing the awareness back out to the body, to the weight of the body in the chair, the feeling of your feet connected to the floor, the feeling of your instrument under your fingers. Then bringing the attention further out into the space, noticing any sounds in the room, however small they might be. And then gently blinking the eyes open, ready to start practice for the day.